Let's go across to, well, another developing story. The more and more news emerges of Suresh Kalmadi and, well, his magic of forgery, as it were. And Rahul Srivastava has more on how not just one government, it's not just the UPA government which was fooled, but the NDA as well. Rahul, what's the story?
Sonia, in the main report, the Shunglu Committee has written one quote from Oscar Wilde. What he says is that I'm made for the exception, not for the rule. But it seems that Mr. Suresh Kalmadi, right since 2003, made it a rule that he cheated subsequent governments. The first was the NDA government. In November 2003, when in Jamaica, along with the Indian Sports Minister, Mr. Vikram Verma, he suddenly made an announcement, 32 crore will be paid by the Indian government to all the sports federations for training. Vikram Verma asked him, why did you make the announcement? I have no clue about it. Mr. Kalmadi told him that I have talked to Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee on phone. This is Mr. Vikram Verma's letter to the Shunglu Committee, and he says there was no such conversation. Then Mr. Kalmadi is asked the question. He says, I cannot recall when this conversation took place. It was night time, but I did make the call. What does the Shunglu Committee say? The Shunglu Committee is very explicit, says there was no such record. So he technically fooled the NDA government. At that time, the NDA could have removed him, but didn't. Then comes the instance of his appointment as the Organising Committee chairman. The bid says very clearly, this is the original document from the Ministry of Sports, says very clearly that OC has to be a government body with a government nominee. But then there are three letters by ministers, Mr. Sunil Dutt, Mr. Manish Shankar Iyer, and then MS Gill, who say this was all wrong. It was not supposed to happen.
Right. That, of course, the focus of such focus in Parliament, and the Prime Minister expected to make an intervention soon on that. Let's see when that happens. But Rahul, interesting insight there on Mr. Kalmadi and, well, I think his magic rope tricks or how he's managed to fool ministers and prime ministers of two governments. Thank you very much.
NDTV's cricket app, Android and iPhone. Fastest scorecard, special analysis, and much more. Download free. ndtv.com/apps.